today we're going to our Alvin and Chipmunks Chipwrecked. Now, I'm so sorry this is late, but it's their 10th anniversary, even though it was a couple of weeks ago now. So, yes, we're going to talk about the film. We're going to talk about how much the movie made box office-wise. We're going to talk about, some story points in there as well, and other things as well. So, let's get started. So, this movie released on December 16th, 2011. Has it really been that long? Yes, it is. And now we're nearly at the end of 2021 and we're going to go into 2022. We are getting old. But that's not the point. But yes, this movie came out a while ago. I loved it. One of my favorite movies ever. I just love it so much. It's a really good movie. Like, really, really good movie. So, we're going to talk about box office-wise, like I said before. We're not going to include Road Trip because that came after Chipwrecked, and that was like in 2015. So we're going to focus on the main three for now. So, yes. So the first movie was actually not successful, but people really enjoyed that movie. I think it was because, the beginning of the Chipmunks and how they met Dave. So, that's why that movie was popular with audiences. And that movie made $361.3 million. Now, remember, these are going to be the millions. And that's pretty good for that movie. Pretty good amount. So, Alvin Chipmunks, the Squiggle, people didn't like that movie so much. I beg to differ. I love that movie. And why wouldn't you? It was the introduction of the Chipettes, but I can see why people dislike it or hate it. I'm not sure why. Like I said before, it introduces the Chipettes in it. So that movie made $443.1 million. So it made more than the first movie, which is interesting because that's the most hated movie. But it's your opinion. Like, I didn't mind the Squiggle. I mean, I don't mind the first one, but the first one's not my favorite, So, yeah, so Alvin Chipmunk's Chipwrecked made $342.7 million. So the first and the third movie didn't make a lot of money, to be honest. So the highest movie for now, it might change with Road Trip, we'll see. So the highest movie that made a little bit more money is Alvin Chipmunk's Squiggle, even though people dislike that movie or hate that movie, even though they made more money than the third and the first movie combined. So yes, like I said, go check this movie out. It's a really good movie. So yes, back in the day, they did an episode of Alvin and Chipmunks where, it's a combined episode. So they do Big Dreams and Island Fever. So it's a combined episode. And Island Fever, the episode, was actually released on October 24th, 1987. And, obviously that was the source material for this movie. They based it sort of on that, but they tweaked it a bit because it was a movie. So it's really good to have the source material with you. So yeah. So you get the stitch. They go in the episode. They go on a cruise. Apparently the cruise was called Island Lady, but in the movie it was called Carnival Cruise or Carnival Dreams. And you get the stitch, you get the idea, in the episode they go overboard and go onto an island, and it also happens here. They go overboard and go into an island as well. Now, story points. Now, they mainly focused on the Alvin and Dave relationship, which I love because we don't really see that a lot between the two of them. And, what was interesting for me seeing that being discovered in this movie is that Alvin, he wants to have fun on the cruise ship, and like Dave's like, no, and then they go overboard, and Alvin thinks it's fun to go on a tropical island, but he realizes that, he might be stuck here forever, and he kind of worries a bit, gets a bit emotional at the end when he sees Dave a bit, because we don't really see Alvin be emotional that much, which is very interesting, and his vulnerability and his honesty, we get to see more of that in the film as well. Very good character arc with Alvin. I love this character arc of Alvin. I wish they would continue that in the 2015 series, but this is the best we're going to get, so I'm taking it. So, yes, the best story arc of Alvin ever. Like, it's really, really good. And at the ending of, well, kind of nearly at the ending, nearly at the end of the movie, movie, sort of, you know, Dave comes and finds him, and Alvin's a bit upset, and you know, you see Alvin, you know, do those big hazily eyes, and like, oh, Alvin, come here, have a hug, but you can't because he's on our screen. So yeah, so I felt that a bit, and that was very emotional for me to watch because it was very heartbreaking, but you know, very touching as well. So I thought that was amazing, and they were hugging, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the cutest thing ever. And that after they got off the island, they apologized and reconciled on the raft they made as well. So I thought that was really good story arc for both of them, you know. So yes. So, you know, also this movie focuses more on the Simon and Jeanette relationship. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Simon and Jeanette. You know, it wasn't teased during the middle of the film. It was actually teased at the beginning where we saw them ice skating on the deck together. You know, so there's been some hints, you know, at the beginning of the movie with them. But Simon's not really in this a lot. But you know, when he turns into Simone, a French Alvin, supposedly, he becomes a different person, and you know, kind of lets Jeanette in a little bit more, even though he's a different person. But he comes back. Don't worry, he comes back. He comes back at the ending, nearly at the end. But yes, even though I'm not a big fan of Simon and Jeanette, like I don't understand why they never had a moment in the squiggle. But Simon did say that in one of the monk casts, I think he said like they played a bigger role in the Chipwrecked movie, so that's very touching to hear. And even though I'm not a fan, I don't understand why people love them so much. I'm more of an Alvin and Brittany fan, to be honest with you, so I don't understand the Simon and Jeanette thing anyway. But I will say this from a retrospective, from behind, you know, I think ever since this movie came out, people love Simon and Jeanette. You know, you see videos and they really love Simon and Jeanette, and I'm like, good for them, you know. Not only you can be a fan of anything, you can be a fan of Simon and Jeanette or Theodore Eleanor as well. You know, so I think that's really interesting. And even though I didn't understand why it had so many scenes together, they get so many scenes together, which does more Alvin and Brittany stuff in there. But anywho, even though they had more scenes together, you could understand like, you know, where they're coming from. And I think when this movie came out, like people, like the fandom for themselves love Simon and Jeanette, like love Simon and Jeanette. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. But yeah, but it's really good, really, really good. And at the end, you know, when they're on the raft, you know, I wouldn't say they become intimate, but they come closer and share each other's feelings a little bit more. Because in the first act of the film, they're a little more shy and timid, you know, when you like someone. So I can understand that. But yeah, so there's one thing I never understood while watching this movie, and I watched this movie so many times. So, you know when Simon turns into Simone, he gets bitten by the spider, you know, Simon calls it something or rather, and he becomes Simone. And I'm thinking, how does Alvin become responsible when someone gets bitten by a spider? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And how does Brittany become the responsible one, and then Jeanette becomes, and Simon and Jeanette, Simone and Jeanette become the fun ones, and Brittany and Alvin become the responsible ones? I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Simon's the one who got bitten by a spider. You know, he changes because he got bitten by the spider and his persona changed as well. But I never understood why Alvin, Brittany, or Jeanette changed different personalities in film. I mean, it's good to see Alvin and Brittany be more responsible, like good story arc for both of them as well. But I never understood that while watching the movie. I might have to ask them a question about that, because even watching this movie, I was like, okay, I think they should really explain that more, to be honest, but I didn't get a sense of it at all. So yeah, so I'm in that, like I said, really good movie. Go check it out. So that's all I got to have, guys. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and at Miller's Mouse, I can't speak. And also hit that subscribe button to get to 400 subscribers, guys.